the Hoops Talk.
Get close to the
mic. Well, you are recording off location.
Opulence. This is the Liz lap of luxury, motivated weekend.
I love it. I love to inspire people.
Always.
To live luxuriously like I would. Well, you know, if you're going to go out and do your thing, you might as well, right? Oh my gosh.
No one needs the Motel 6.
No, you don't. There's certain things you need the Motel 6 for, but not
this. Hey, the world's ending.
You know, you're not wrong. Every day I wake up, I take my walks, and it is a red sun, like the eye of Sauron, or whatever that eye was in the Hobbit movie.
Oh shit, the eye of Sauron.
It is crazy out there. Yeah. You see it everywhere. You know, and just so, I mean, the Los Angeles Times has a ton of great information, a lot of good articles. So I'd recommend if you're looking for somewhere to find information, that's at least our local news.
That's Armageddon related? Yeah.
I mean, I'm going on vacation. So we're all like
vacation month.
It's vacation month for some reason for all of us. So Kendall, you'll notice Kendall is not here today. She's on her vacation. And then I go on my vacation, which just like lends Karen to vacation vicariously wherever and however she
It was just a weekend. I wasn't taking no time off. I need the money.
Well, yes, but I definitely need one. And so we're going to go away. So, and we're going to the desert. So far away from like where potentially anything could be on fire.
And you have an outdoor tub, right? So you're going to be washing
I'm doing all. I'm just going to be like
outside
in bathing suits and caftans the whole time that I'm in the desert. Just very Stevie Nicks witch look.
Oh, I love it.
I love it's going to be fantastic. And I know that Kendall's in Jackson Hole. She's been like touring with her mom. It looks fantastic. So follow her if you want to see some of her travel lusciousness. And then Karen, I already saw the fireplace in your stories.
Yes, I'm in Calistoga, California.
Lovely.
And we're chilling, but tonight at 8 p.m. we are kayaking in Bodega Bay because we are going to see the bioluminescence algae.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I can capture anything on this fucking damn phone, it's going to get captured. I don't know. No
guarantees. Be careful because it's still very smoky up there.
And sharks.
Yeah. Well, honey, if you're going to go to their house, they might open the door.
If you had to come knocking.
Because I'm all about sharks. Because I'm just like, well, get out of the ocean. That's where they live. Yeah, you're going to get bit. I mean,
you're coming to their hood.
You're going to get bit. So don't tell me nothing about no sharks, okay? I am for the sharks. I know there was like a young woman that just got bit and she's like, I still love sharks because, I mean, it was her.
Even more. I mean, she manifested that. She's so attracted to them.
I mean, we all love a good shark. Well, you're in Calistoga. I'm still holding it down in Los Angeles. Kendall is it's some campsite, some mountain, some beautiful range. But we have a fabulous returning guest on the show today. I'm so excited to have Krysten back on.
Yes, can't wait.
She is an NBA draft analyst for Yahoo Sports, and she's going to be breaking down so much good stuff for the NBA, the rookies, the drafts, what's going on right now. I mean,
take your headphones in. It's going to be a breakdown.
We're going to break it down. I think it's going to be very, very interesting because we forget that we still have the draft going. We still have these rookies out there. We still have these high school kids. They're all piling up. So we got to like figure out what we're going to do with that. If we have time, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what's going on in the WNBA and the NBA because today, both because we record on Saturday, the Lakers could wrap it up against the Rockets.
Yes.
And the Sparks, they have one game against the Las Vegas Aces today, which I think will be really good.
Oh, that's going to be such a game. That's some top cream of the crop.
I need to see my Sparks
spark it up.
They need to spark it up. I'm going to spark it up, and they need to spark it up.
That's the shirt. That's the shirt. It'll be on hoopstalk.com.
Yeah, spark it up. That's a great way to move on. So we are going to have a great show. But before we do that, we always like to do a little bit of our house cleaning and our update. So as always, please subscribe, like and review us on Apple Podcasts, and we're on Spotify. We're on all the platforms right now. We're also on Twitter, and we're on Instagram at the Hoops Talking. We also have a TikTok at the Hoops Talk podcast. And then you can subscribe to us on YouTube at the Hoops Talk. And then, of course, the app update. So that's supposed to launch. The Good News Radio app is supposed to be launching mid-September, so in a couple of weeks. And that is going to be like a 30-day trial, and then $3.99 if you already have it, and then $5.99. So there's all these different price ranges and all these things, but there's a possibility that we could go exclusive to that app. So you might as well get it now, try it out, see what you like.
Because we make last-minute decisions.
We always do. I mean, because we control it. That's
Hello.
the beauty. Hello. We're women-run, women-owned, women creators, women CEO.
What are the few things we can control?
Exactly. We had to make it so that because actually we can, I'm not going to get into what we can and cannot do, but let's just say this is the one where we can decide and we make the choices. So anyway, just think about, really go and get the app, try it out. You're going to have so many good shows on there too, not just ours. There's a lot of great content. I love a lot of the shows on the network, and I love our network.
Feel good. Love it.
Oh yeah. Cultural, current events, breaking news. There's a whole profanity podcast, which is 100% Lakers, and they're always giving giveaways, and they just joined the network. I mean,
where'd you get the pull?
Right? Oh, I mean, they just gave out like a Derek Fisher signed jersey. Yeah, so they have it, and that's on our network. So check it out. So we'll probably have more details as we get closer to that. As I mentioned before, we're all going on vacation. So our next new episode will probably be the first week of October.
Ooh.
So the second week of October.
Yeah.
So we'll have some reruns on the app. We're going to do a couple shows. I already put them in. So that, or just listen to some old ones and catch up to what we're doing. Because I know a lot of times sports moves really fast, but we talk about like all different types of things. So
we talk about the culture. That's always going to be around.
And voting and census.
Always.
All those things you need to do.
Social justice.
Oh, 100% all the time. Okay, so with that, I think we're ready to bring on our guests, and we'll be right back. Welcome, Krysten Peak, to the Hoops Talk.
Yay!
Hi.
So happy to have you back
I know
on.
You're back.
One
I'm
of our
happy
favorite.
to be here.
Oh, good.
I'm just glad that a draft date is tentatively set. So,
right, finally.
We'll see what happens come November, but we'll see.
Well, for everyone listening, Krysten is the NBA draft analyst for Yahoo Sports, and pretty much all levels of men's basketball.
Yep.
Like you're doing high school, college, and then the pros. And you also do some G League, and you do some Olympics. I mean, you're all over with men's basketball, essentially.
Yeah, I pretty much cover it on all three levels: high school, college, and the draft.
You know what? You might even have to get into those grade schools. See
Oh my gosh, I don't think I could handle that. Like someone said, they sent me an email, and they're like, "My son is the number 6th ranked 6th grader in America," and I'm like, "Honey, no one has time for this. I'm sorry."
Hey, they start younger and younger, because you see tennis. I think they start them out like at 3 or 4 years old,
right.
and they're with a racket in their hand. So I wouldn't be surprised. So that's on the horizon. But Krysten, the last time that you were on our show, we didn't know if we were going to have an NBA season. We were going to finish it, I should say. We didn't know. College had stopped. Everything had stopped. Full stop. And the only thing everyone was really looking forward to was the Michael Jordan documentary.
Yes.
So just put that in perspective, how long ago that was and where we were at. And I think you had just driven to your families. You'd said, Manhattan Beach, I love you, but I need to be around people.
Yes.
So that's kind of where we're at. And now, I mean, it's a whole different world. And I want to know, how are you, what are you liking or disliking about what happened with the NBA bubble?
I love the NBA bubble. I love that they were kind of the trailblazer is to show this is how it works. I mean, ever since everyone that has been in the NBA bubble, there have been 0 positive COVID tests. And they're serious about it. So much so serious that even when they started allowing family members in it, they created a bubble school for the kids there so they could continue to go to school. So everything the NBA is doing, from even social distancing the media from the players and post-game interviews and making everyone wear a mask unless you're a player, and then once you leave the court you have to put a mask on. I mean, I think they're probably one of the only sports that's literally taking this as serious as it should be taken, instead of just like, okay, NFL, I mean, they're playing, but they're allowing fans in the stadium. And let me tell you something, that virtual fan thing, my nephew got to be one of the virtual fans in the game, and he loved it. He loved it. He was just like, I mean, they meet everyone in your little area before the game, and there's like a leader who leads cheers, and he was excited when he could see himself on the game. So I think they have done a phenomenal job.
That's great. Yeah, I know that, well, the WNBA launched a little bit before they did. So they've been having, they pretty much I mean, the same, under the same, WNBA, NBA. So they pretty much structure it very similar. And I feel, and maybe I would love to hear what you think, but I think like the family coming into the NBA was really had to do with mental health.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I think so too, because as soon as you let the players' families come in, then you had Denver head coach Mike Malone say, look, what about us? What about the coaches? Like, I haven't seen my family in 60 days. Like, why don't we get any family members in? So, and then, sure enough, a week later, they restructured their deal, and coaches' families were allowed to come in. And so I think this is unprecedented time. Like, we've never been through this. So they're cautiously experimenting with different ways to try to get people as comfortable as they can in that environment for as long as they have to be there.
It might actually be more of a shocker when they're allowed to go back out into the wild.
Yeah.
Well,
or have to travel far again in between playoff games,
or just like being out in the world, today.
Well, a friend of mine, Tanya, I can never say her last name, but she's the LA Times writer, the beat writer for the Lakers. And so she left, and then her coworker came in for the last bit of the playoffs, but she was in the bubble for 2 months. And she said when she got out of the bubble, it was like she was giving people the death stare, like, you're too close to me, get away. Because everybody in the bubble, they knew social distance, like, have a mask. And so she said it was kind of shocking to go out of the bubble and be like, no, you're too close.
Right. Yeah, I even think that, to Karen's point about the traveling, like you want to have your house and you want to have your family, but maybe when you're at work, right? Like a season of work, bringing down the travel as much as you can is kind of cool. I mean, I know there's like the home court advantage and the fans, and I get it. But I think about someone like Candace Parker on the WNBA, whose stats have gone nuts. Yes. And really, she doesn't have to travel. So,
it's like a giant AAU tournament. Do you know what I mean? Yes. They see each other everywhere. Hello, would we have ever gotten a Taco Fall swim class with Enos Kanter and Jaylen Brown if it wasn't for the NBA bubble? That was like the greatest thing ever. And so they're around each other all the time. It doesn't matter if Donovan Mitchell just lost to Jamal Murray, like he saw him moments later outside on the phone, so there is a lot of downtime. They have time to rest, they have time to recover, and they have time mentally just to unwind.
Yeah. I think that's a big deal. I mean, some things that you hear about too, like Paul George's experience and his mental health, and how that kind of also opened the door to family coming in, especially with all the protocols in place. And then you see some people that maybe couldn't. You see Giannis and the Bucks, how that it might have worked against them, and so it's a lot of experimentation. But the fact that they're healthy and they're able to play. Yep. And they're still able to use their platform to talk about social justices, because as you saw how the Bucks did the strike, we call it a strike because if you're a worker and you decide you don't want to work, that's a strike. It's not a boycott. Yeah. So we called it a strike. And you saw those things happening that maybe you wouldn't get that if you were at your, home court or outside of the situation.
Right, exactly. And let me just say to anybody out there that is, boycotting the NBA and refusing not to watch it, they are missing out on some great basketball. Yeah. Like these playoffs have been amazing.
Amazing.
Crazy.
Incredible.
Amazing. I have not seen as many like last minute shots in games as we've seen now, like have just been willed, or even like a dopey 2 points at the foul line with like Jimmy Butler. How you win that game is like, oh, what a like just like all these crazy ways and all these crazy plays and the intensity on the court. I mean, we're getting to more game 7s than I've ever seen in other playoffs, which has been amazing. And the surprise
underdogs. Hello.
Well, the Bucks. How did you feel about that? Yeah. I was flabbergasted.
Listen, the Heat were a great matchup for them in terms of defensively. Yeah. And when you only have one star player like Giannis, and he was hurt, he had an ankle injury, and then and he didn't play in the last game. But the Heat are awesome right now. Like, do I believe that they can beat the Celtics with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker? I'm not sure, but it's going to be a really good series. And who would have thought? I mean, I did not see the Heat in a regular season making the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. And who would have thought with the Eastern Conference Finals too, right?
I know. Yeah. I know. I did not have them in my conversation for that. I mean, for the most part, I thought, okay, Bucks on the East. And then, of course, I'm always going to pull for the Lakers because that's my team. But I feel like we could be looking after this weekend. I think Lakers could potentially close it out against the Rockets. And then the Clippers let that last game slip away against Nuggets. Oh my God. Which I'm not mad about.
Me either.
Like, they can take it as long as they need to take it. But we could be looking at like an LA conference.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think Denver has another game in them, and let alone 2 games to beat the Clippers.
Yeah.
And I think the Lakers close it out with the Rockets. Their small ball has been very inspiring. It's the way they've been playing, but it's not going to take them all the way to the final.
No. Do you think that when Houston gets eliminated, do you see D'Antoni going away as well? I do, but I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe. I don't really follow the coaching changes. I know there have been a lot of coaching changes, especially in Oklahoma City. And also Indiana is interviewing. I saw Becky Hammon for a coaching position. Yep. So I mean, when you lose and you can't win with 2 superstars like Harden and Westbrook, then of course your job it's always going to be on the line.
Right. No, I mean, I knew him as a coach also for the Knicks because he coached the Knicks, and he's just very stubborn in this way that he wants to play. And I just think that's not, I mean, obviously hasn't won a championship yet. So, and to your point, you got the superstars. He is fully loaded with that team. So we should be doing a lot better. So who do you think is going to go win it all?
I think the Lakers. I mean, you have to say the Lakers, what they're doing. I mean, and I'm not just saying that. I just look at what they have, and when they are on, and nobody can beat them. It's just those horrible nights off when KCP is taking 8 million shots and can't hit the side of a barn and just keeps shooting. Kyle Kuzma's off. Like they need their little guys, not little, but like backup guys to be playing at a high level.
Yep.
For them to win the whole thing.
The consistency has always been an issue. And what was nice was when they did add Rondo, you got him to be more of a facilitator, and you allowed LeBron to be taking more of those shots and going into the lane. So that was really good to have him back. I mean, the first game he came back, I was like, he looks kind of stinky, but then I was like, why is he getting on it? Give Caruso
Rajon
more
Dijon.
minutes. Right? But I do agree with you. I think that they look really good, and I'm super excited. But it's funny because Kendall became a Trailblazers fan, and Karen is a Warriors fan. So I'm the last woman standing in
She
this
sure is.
trio, and they don't give me any love. I'll tell you that. I get no
Shoot, I'm
fan
betting on the
support.
Lakers. Come on.
Yeah, this is because of sports bets. Okay, so as we're talking about how this basketball season is rolling out, and we mentioned that we just had the draft lottery, right? So that chooses what team is going to have the first pick, what have you. And then now they're moving the actual draft to November is the latest information that we got. And then they're discussing starting the 2020-21 season. They said potentially in December.
Yeah, Christmas Day,
Which to me, that has always been the
that'd
start
be a
of
great
basketball
gift.
season. So I don't mind that. I mean, we've always thought that as more being like the real kickoff of the NBA season. So with all these dates kind of like pushing out a little bit and how it's structured, how is that affecting, the basketball that you're covering in high school and in college as far as like combines and draft, and how's that all being affected?
Yeah, so when you think about these players in this year's draft, they're having to wait 146 days from the time that they thought they were going to be drafted in June to November 18th. And I've been able to watch a few of the top players work out. And what's interesting is the way that they're utilizing this time. A lot of them, this is their first break in their career ever, because when you're in high school, it's AAU from April to August. Then you go straight into your high school season. And then you got USA basketball. Then you got state playoffs. And then, it's rinse and repeat, AAU. So their body never gets a break. And same in college, because if you're a one and done, you go straight into the season. And then right after that, then it's workout, combine, draft, summer league season. So
Wow.
for
Year-round.
some of these players, I think there's going to be a lot of surprises in this draft because of this break, because we're seeing players that are going to improve immensely, and where teams won't be able to see that improvement until they get them on their team.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of surprises, I think, in the late first round and even into the second round, even players that are undrafted, where 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we're going to be like, wait, where was he taken? Man, he is killing it, kind of like Fred VanVleet. Like, he was undrafted and now he's a key player for the Raptors.
Well, so looking at the draft lottery results. I'm not going to read all of them, but like the top 3 are the Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors, and the Charlotte Hornets. The Golden State Warriors, I call BS on that.
Oh,
I can't believe they took the 3rd spot, but you know what?
We do a lot they do a lot of meditation and manifestation.
I think they iced those envelopes.
No, but I will say this, but with the Warriors having the second pick, it's not necessarily a great thing, because this is a bad draft year. It's a bad draft class. When you look at the guys at the top and what you could be getting them, a lot of people like James Wiseman to the Warriors because they think he can come in as a big man and play right away. But what we've seen in the past with bigs being drafted in the top 3, top 4 slots, they're not productive at the next level. Like DeAndre Ayton, who went number 1 to Phoenix, Marvin Bagley, who went number 2 to Sacramento. Are they franchise players? Are they, they're impacting the game, but they're not living up to the price tag that they had for the top 1, 2, or 3 pick.
Well, and thinking about that, when we think about the rookies of last season, so you had John Morant, you had Zion, you have Tyler Hero, who's still in it. Crazy, right? And what John Morant was able to do, and he got Rookie of the Year. How do you? Okay, because I have always been a Zion question mark, right? I know I get blasted, so I stopped saying anything. But yeah, so I've always had him kind of like as a question mark, and I was a huge John Morant fan. You could go back to the tapes, you can hear me. How has the expectations that they made met what you originally thought of that draft class? Like, I'm sure
For
you had
last
thoughts
year,
about Zion. Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, I think Zion was awesome this year in the games that he did play. He had to overcome his knee injury. I do think he's going to be plagued with more injuries down his career because he's just so big.
Yeah.
You cannot keep up with that athleticism
Yeah,
and continue to
explosive.
jump out of the gym and be explosive without tearing down your body. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's not going to hold up as he ages. But I think he's going to have a great career. I still believe in Zion. Like I've known him since he was 15.
Mm.
And just to see what he's done in the short amount of time that he's really genuinely embraced his stardom role and embraced his star power has been great for New Orleans. I think it's great for the NBA and the game of basketball. Like people want to see him play. They not only play, but they want to go to warm up and see
Right.
him warm up, you know? And so for him, I think he's going to meet expectations. I know a lot of people like you are skeptical about him because he's a 6'8" wing, but and you know, everyone's like, oh, he can't shoot. But then his 3-point shooting percentage was great, his 18 games that he played. So I think he's going to be great. I think Ja Morant is an all-star. He is just going to be amazing in his career. And Tyler Hero is like the unknown superstar that none of us ever saw coming because he didn't produce or do well at Kentucky. So he's kind of hidden. But once you get into the right system and you're a baller and a dog like Tyler Hero, you are going to flourish. And that's what he's doing this year.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with how much they trust him already. Because he's getting some last minute shots that he's just like, I think he throws it up. He doesn't even like follow it. He's just like, I know it's going to go in.
Yeah,
You
shoot or
see that
shoot.
confidence. Oh, it's really good to see. I remember us talking about him a little bit as well. And it's great to see when teams are trusting him and teammates are trusting him. So, you know, for all the rookies, I feel like we had more rookies who were taking the lead this season than I've seen before in the past, where we're saying their names a lot more in this particular season than we have before. So that's
right.
nice.
Because 2 years ago, it was just Trae Young. 2 years ago, it was just Trae Young and Luka Doncic. Those were the only the only two players that people were talking about. So
yeah.
Now, not to say that next year we're going to be a year from now, we're going to be like, oh, who's really performed this season? I don't think there are like superstars yet that we know of in this draft class that are like Zion and Ja, the 1 and 2 spots.
Yeah, no,
I think that
totally
is
agree
still
with
way
you.
up in the air. Yeah.
So I've been reading your analysis and your articles for Yahoo Sports, and I know that you did have an article. I think it was back in June 2020, where you called this draft class the weakest. You called it the weakest draft. And you also said there was a lot of question marks surrounding a handful of players projected in the lottery. You actually identified 5 potential lottery selections who had high ceilings and yet offer high risk. You pointed out LaMelo Ball, Jaden McDaniels, Cole Anthony, Precious Achua. I hope I said that right.
That's right.
And Isaac Okoro. Those were the 5 that was back in June. Okay. Since then, in August, you've added some additional prospects. You know, as you were looking at, you added Anthony Edwards, whom I think you've brought up in the past before. I remember hearing Anthony Edwards. Obi Toppin has been another one that I know you've talked a lot about. James Wiseman has come up a lot for you as well. And you've had some other, I recommend everyone go and check out your article that you posted on August 2020 with 16 edition. You had, I believe, a total of 16 prospects. How are you seeing those move in the world now? Like, I know you did a post NBA draft lottery and you kind of slotted them in, but I mean, it's a different world from June to now. What are you seeing? Are those still high risks? I mean, I know a lot of people are probably focusing on LaMelo Ball, but what are you seeing?
Yeah, LaMelo's always going to be a high risk because of his family and people,
daddy,
and they want to see these poor kids fail. Like, I don't understand this hate on Lonzo and LaMelo. LaMelo is a great player. Things that he has, I mean, and people are weary on him because of what he did in Illawarra for the Hawks in the NBL this past year, where he only shot 35% from the field and 25% from 3. I mean, but his team was horrible. He was the only one that could get a shot off. And let me tell you something. He was averaging, I think, almost 7 assists per game. If anybody on that team could catch a pass of his and finish a layup, he probably would have averaged 15 assists per game. That's how good
Yeah.
of a passer he is.
Wow.
I went over there. I watched a couple of his games. I was there for a triple double game and where he had a triple double. And he was the first player since 2005 to record back-to-back triple doubles in the NBL. So
Mm.
for everyone that's like, LaMelo Ball shouldn't even be drafted, like, what are you talking
Wow.
about? He's a 6'8" point guard with a tight handle and a great pick and roll game. Hello, that is the modern day NBA. If you
Mhm.
can read the defense off of pick and roll and find your man or take the jumper, you're going to be successful.
Yeah. 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 And really the high risk is just his family. I mean, for the most part.
Right. A lot of people are scared about what LeVar will bring to a team,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I think it's encouraging that LeVar is sitting this one out. We haven't seen him in the media when there
True.
was a time when there was no basketball going on and he could have been running his mouth to anybody that would listen, and he hasn't said anything. So I
Interesting.
think that's a great sign, and I think teams are really considering that as like a good sign when they're
Mhm.
considering LaMelo a top 1, 2, or 3 pick.
You also, so in your post NBA draft lottery piece, which is fantastic, everyone should definitely read that. The 2020 NBA mock draft 4.0, who's rising in the draft boards. You do have a LaMelo going to the Golden State Warriors.
I do. But I
Hmm.
think what they would do is they would either package him for a trade to try
Yep.
to get
Okay.
someone like to try to get Giannis, even though people are kind of soft on the Giannis
It's
going
so fun.
to the Warriors, going to the Warriors thing, or they could trade it down. I know. So say if whoever say Anthony Edwards falls to number 2,
Mm,
then what the Warriors could do is they could trade down to 6, where
Yep.
Onyeka Okongwu will probably still be there. Trade that pickup to Atlanta because I know Trae Young and Anthony Edwards would be great in the backcourt. Trae
mm,
actually went to a lot of, or a couple of, not a lot, a couple of the Georgia games this year where
mhm,
he sat courtside. They have the same agent. Like it just makes sense
hmm.
for Atlanta to try to push for that to try to get Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I know with the whole Giannis thing, he just wrote or he just commented about like, well, when some people hit a wall, they turn away, but other people go through it, and I'm staying put. And people have said anyone who makes that kind of statement is leaving.
Oh yeah, LeBron.
Kevin Durant,
Yeah.
he said the same thing.
Right.
It's the curse.
So I think you have a really great point there on how the Warriors can really leverage that to get Giannis, and we'll see. I mean, hey, because we just need more in the West. Please
And
keep stacking us.
yeah, and even with the teams with the top picks, Krysten, you're saying, this class is a bit weak. Are you going to see more trades as well versus actually taking their picks?
I think so, especially at the top, because
Mhm.
when you look at a team like Minnesota now, I do think that they will draft Anthony Edwards
Mm,
because you've got D'Angelo Russell at the 1 and you got Karl Anthony Towns at the 5. And
mm,
when you bring someone like Anthony Edwards into it, who's a great passer, has great court vision, and has a decent 3-point jump shot, but I'm sure he's been working on it in the off season. That's a great piece to have to the puzzle. And then you have a pick number 17, which you can go and get a decent wing at 17 and number 33. So they've got 3 picks to work with here. Would they trade one of those? Maybe.
mm.
But from what I know is they're going to try to get as much as they can from this draft.
And I know another player you've always spoken very highly of is Obi Toppin, and you do see him going to the Charlotte Hornets. Can you explain that draft pick there?
So for Obi Toppin, I mean, I know he's a little bit older, and Jonathan Wasserman from the Bleacher Report, he just did this great article a couple weeks ago about things that scare me. And one of the things that he proved is that age is definitely a factor. And when you look
Mhm.
at players that are 22 or older that are drafted, their production kind of goes down in the NBA. And so with Obi, it's okay, was he dominating college basketball? A, because he was on a mid major team like Dayton, and B, because he was just bigger and stronger than everyone else. And how is that going to translate over to the NBA? But the thing with him is like, usually we see those trends with bigger guys that are like forwards and centers, where Obi's a wing. I
Mm.
mean, he could be a stretch 4, but he had this crazy growth spurt where he grew 6 inches in 4 years.
Wow.
So he was a guard in high school, and now he's running the four. He was a forward in college. He was before, but he's got great hands. He can shoot outside. I think he averaged 50% from three the second half of the season.
Nice.
So for me, like it makes sense. Like if you can play basketball, and 22 isn't old. Like people are acting, like 22 years old. LeBron
Right.
is 35. Like you can have a long NBA career if you take care of your body, you know how to play the game, you have high basketball IQ, and I think Obi has all three of those.
So he is, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you've been talking about him a lot. I've been watching, reading your articles about it. And you're right, the age thing, I think we need to take that out of our minds for a lot of things. Now, injury prone is a little bit different, right? When we're seeing that, that's just like to your point where you got to do something better with your body. That's an obvious sign. But with him, he's looking still as good. And as you pointed out, LeBron James, my man.
Vino and water therapy.
Sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
I was saying wine and water therapy. I mean, LeBron's got some good secrets in his belt.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you about two pieces that I read recently. One of them had to do with Mikey Williams, who you had a piece a while ago, but recently you did his inside the tiny hole in the wall gym, and I read that and I watched the video. I mean, that's like a storage unit that they're playing in. That's
exactly what it is.
Is that exactly? Yeah, right. It's crazy how did this come about? I mean, I read the article, but I would love to hear, like, when you heard that this was happening, what were you just like, holy, how, what, this is what we have to do in the age of coronavirus. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that piece.
I know.
It just must be so insane.
Yeah. So I was in California. I've been actually back and forth to California 3 times now. I've put a lot of miles on my car, but between California and Vegas and Utah. But yeah, when I was back there, I was down in San Diego, and I just I texted Mikey and I said, "Are you guys working out?" And he said yes. And then I got in touch with his trainer Ryan Rizuki, and Ryan's like, "Here's the address." And I knew it was small because I've seen the videos from Overtime and Slam, the highlights during the 4 months that nothing's been open. But when I walked in, I was just like, what? You guys are going to work out here? It's 20 by 40. They have 4 hoops on 3 different walls. And there were about 8 or 10 different players, Mikey's teammates, working out in there. And they go hard. I mean, so the short court isn't like big enough for a 3-point line. So you have to go long ways if you're going to shoot threes. And like Mikey's broken 2 lights from dunks hitting off the rim and skyrocketing into the ceiling. But it was just such a unique space. And like to sit down and talk to Ryan, the trainer, and how the whole thing came about when everything was closed, Mikey just wanted to get in and work out. And so Ryan's space, since it's privately owned, was one of the only gyms in San Diego that was open. And he was working out maybe sometimes twice a day. But the way it goes, it's like he gets a text from Mikey at 6 p.m. He says, "Can we go at 9? Can we go at 10?" And Ryan just makes it happen. So I was at the gym, I think, for 3 of their workouts. And one time they didn't start until 10:30, and we're there till 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't get paid enough for this.
I was going to say, did you even walk in the little storage unit? I was like, not want to touch it.
I know. I had my camera, and I was constantly having to move because I didn't want to get hit by any of the players during like the drills or anything like that, or the ball. So I'm just like, where do I stand? Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, if you get a chance, listeners, go and look at this latest article. It's so great. And there is a video and you see the setup, and I can see another guy with a camera, like trying not to get in the way under the basket. So definitely worth checking out. And the last player I want to talk to you about, because I think this is really awesome, is Bam Adebayo. You just put out a article about path to the NBA, and tell us about how he's blossomed, because man, oh man, has he looked so good. And, I know you are someone who, follows them from start to where they're at now. And what are your thoughts on him?
So Bam was he was a high recruit in high school. He was a top 10 player, McDonald's All-American. He represented USA basketball. And it's funny, my coworker, first time he saw Bam play, he sent me a text. He's like, "You are going to love this guy, Bam Adebayo." And I'm like, "Is that his name, Bam?" I'm like, "What?" And then I went to the gym, and it took me all about 10 minutes to figure out who he was. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this guy. I love the way he plays the game. I love how aggressive he is." And then when you went to Kentucky, we saw that recede a little bit. And what's funny is we see that sometimes with Coach Cal and his players. Like Tyler Hero was another one. He didn't shoot great at Kentucky, but what they do at Kentucky is they prepare you for the league. It's not easy. It's not an easy jump from high school to college to the NBA. And so I think with that year at Kentucky, a lot of people forgot about Bam and the fact that he runs the floor really well. He's great in the pick and pop. He's a great defender and rebounder, and he's an exciting player to watch. So to see him refine that now in the NBA at Miami, and how much fun he's having, he's playing more free. It's just, it's like when I see players like that in high school and I see him not pan out in the pros, I'm like, man, people really missed out on the type of player that he could have been. But now when you see it, you're like, yes, finally, like people are seeing the potential that we all saw in him as a 5-star prospect in high school.
That's so awesome. Oh, Krysten, you know what? Thank you so much for coming on again and breaking down the draft for us.
Yeah.
I've loved reading your articles and keeping in touch with,
appreciate you.
love
it's like
it.
taking a master class with you to prepare.
You explain everything so easily to me. I'm like, when I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, I get it, and then it also kind of adds to the love of watching, to your point, when, you're talking about these players from high school, college, and you're like, gosh, what happened to them? But then you get stories where you're like, wow, the BAMs and that. So I love going on the journey with the players that you write about and that you follow. And we so appreciate you having you here. There's so many draft questions, and I know we're going to have you back after
we're always
the draft.
Of course.
Because we're going to need to see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, based on, what the information we have today, we would love for you to come back and talk to us through all of that when that's done. But yeah, Krysten, I appreciate you. Go to Yahoo Sports to read all of Krysten's work. She's also at Krysten Peak, and it's PEK.
Yeah, two
E's, at Instagram and at Twitter. So yeah, definitely read her stuff. She's awesome. Thank you so much, Krysten. Appreciate
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, thanks. And we are back. How great was that?
Oh, so good. I love when we have interviews and my cheeks feel tired.
We got a lot of energy, a lot of information, a lot of laughs.
And she just got to her hotel room. Like, bless
I know,
her.
She's great.
She's professional.
Krysten Peak. I'm telling you, go and read her articles on Yahoo Sports. I don't
You'll feel smarter.
endorse that as often as one would think, but
we follow writers.
Right. She's incredible. Her stuff's out there for free.
Yep.
So go and grab it and learn about, get a jump on who's going to be popping off in the NBA. Speaking of the NBA, so we have, because we record on Saturdays, we have the Laker Rockets game 5 today. 5, I think.
6?
No, because it's 3-1.
Okay, got it.
So game 5. So they could close it out.
Right.
They could close. Lakers could close it out, which I'm gonna put my money on that they will.
Put that money.
And because the Clippers could not close out Denver,
Good.
We're still waiting on to see who's going to go forward in that. And as you were talking about, Karen, because you are sports betting queen
Oh,
right
I just
now.
started novice, but queen soon.
Beginning queen, princess, sports betting princess,
sports betting princess, SBP. With that whap.
Wet ass paper. That's what you are. Wet ass paper.
That's what I chase.
That's right. So as a beginner, you were talking about, you've been betting on the underdogs.
Yes, it's 2020. A lot of shit's happening we weren't expecting to happen. So I'm relying on the universe and the planets to tell me to put money on the dog.
Wow. And you're going to be going for those nugs then. I think the nuggets.
I'm kind of leaning. I mean, the payout's great. Another luxury weekend.
Right? Calistoga money.
Shit, Napa next time.
Napa dollars. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I guess I kind of agree because like Krysten talked about this too in our interview with her conversation, that I don't know if they have enough gas in the tank left to do it. And that I think the same thing happened because Celtics and the Toronto Raptors went to Game 7 last night. The Celtics won, so they will be facing the Heat in this next semis or conference finals. Let me tell you, I did not think the Raptors had enough gas. I also said the same thing about the Trailblazers after they beat the Suns, and then they went and hit up on the Lakers. Lakers losing that one game because they're like a cat playing with a half-dead mouse.
I think it's strategic. I think it's strategic for Lakers and LeBron to give up game 1 because then that's where you learn your lessons. You view tape, you pivot, you win.
Well, Frank Vogel, bless his heart, he's been pivoting. He did really great. He kept JaVale McGee out, of the starting 5. He's going a little bit smaller, a little bit faster. I think you're seeing, I like it. The thing is, you need the shot makers to make the shots.
Period.
You need KCP to make it. Yeah, consistency. KCP, Caruso, Kuzma. You got those guys. Danny Green, he's been terrible. Like, you need them to make their shots. You also notice Dwight Howard hasn't come in as much in this series. Because they want people that are going to be able to move. They're going to be people that are able to cover. So I think that he made a good transition after that one last game. They've really been clamping down. And to tell you the truth, Russell Westbrook has not been.
No, I mean, he was
injury.
gone for 6 games within the playoffs and then back and then limited minutes. I mean, I felt like at that point he gave up. He was like, well.
Yeah. I'm worried for a couple of things. One, again, how we mentioned desperation ball. That could take you a long way. Also, because you got nothing, you're like, I'm going to throw it out there. Houston, if they get heat, if they start moving, if they, they get the confidence, if they're playing desperation ball and they start shooting, I feel like they're super dangerous.
True.
So I think the Lakers are going to have to come out real hard in the beginning, keep the lead, and just put their foot right up on them and just go.
Yeah, don't fall back and get too comfy.
Can't. No. I do think this will go again to a 2-point or 3-point shot at the end. Something like that.
Yeah.
Very dramatic.
Buzzer beater, right?
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be drama or a really lame foul and a challenge. Yeah. It's got to. I mean, we're talking about 2 super intense teams, one that's trying to close it out and one who's playing desperation ball. So I feel like it's going to be pretty dramatic. I'm looking forward to that later today. And then the Heat and the Celtics, I think they have a couple of days off and then they'll start on their game. And then, of course, the Denver Nuggets and Clips. We'll see what happens there. But still a lot, happening. And then we're talking NBA coaching.
Yeah.
You had some updates, Karen.
Well, yeah, like Krysten was talking about earlier, right? There's a lot of coaching drops and new, positions open. And what's been great is there's just been a lot of movement for women, I think. So either early this morning or yesterday, Sonia Ramon was announced to be assistant coach for the Grizz. She's replacing another female assistant coach, so will be the second in that franchise. Becky's interviewing. I've seen, buzz around the Pacers, the Sixers, Dawn Staley as well with Sixers, which that looks pretty shamaze.
Yeah.
And again, going back to Yahoo Sports, there's actually an article about some of the women that the NBA team should be interviewing coming up, right? So we've got Dawn, we've got Becky, we've got Nancy Lieberman, Natalie Nakase. So there's some great women there. And, they talk about he starts the article too with the whole Steve Nash situation, right? Even Nash said, yeah, this is white privilege. Like, I haven't coached, and just kind of moved right into it. But there's another quote too from Silver, who's actually saying that he wants to be much more active about getting women as coaches, and he doesn't see a female head coach in the NBA far. So it'd be really interesting. Yeah.
I mean, that.
Homeboy's keeping the bubble clean. I mean, does he got some Virgo energy right now? I think so. So I wouldn't be, Adam, if you do that, I will applaud you on my tiptoes.
Yeah. They're ripe for it. I mean, they definitely have the right mindset. You're seeing so much leadership from a coaching standpoint, much more so at college, WNBA, NBA. I mean, at least they have women head coaches. Granted, there aren't as many as there should be. But can you name me one NFL female coach? Can you name me one?
I got you an assistant. No,
MLB. Head. You know what I mean? So they are, assistant coaches that are right there on the line. You see it, which is amazing, because what you're saying is that there is a place for you. And we've always said, you gotta take the space that you have. It's so important. Plus, representation matters. You see it. More people want it. More people gun for it. I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good. I love this. I love these things. From the WNBA, man, I have read at least 4 or 5 opinions, thought pieces, articles from, all around the independent media and the established media and the, all these different places about what's happening, because we have the last 2 days of, or actually today might be the last day of the WNBA, right? The regular season ends today on the 12th. And it's all over the place still. Like those last few places are still like open. One of the things, because as Sparks fans, we have Sparks against the Aces today. And I think from everything that I read, first off, that's going to be a great matchup.
Cream of the crop. That better be network ESPN situation.
Don't even get me started with that. I don't even know where. Who knows? I always wait last minute to find out where it's at, because I'm like, it should be. If it's not on ABC, it should be on ABC, or it should be on ESPN, or something like. I like it.
Alert though.
CBS is okay too, like CBS Sports. But
I got an alert. ESPN was saying the rest of the WNBA games are going to be on ESPN, but
we'll see.
Right,
we'll see. So this game is definitely a big time game, because to get into the second spot and get another bye, right? Because these are the one-off games that they do, like last season. To get a bye, you'd have to be in the first place or the second place. And so if the Sparks can beat Vegas, they can get, I believe, into that second spot. And then it's one of those things where like so-and-so has to lose, or so-and-so was, it's like a ton of articles out there, but I just want the Sparks to win. I want Sparks to get as much advantage as they can.
Liz is so LA. She's greedy. She wants 2 basketball championships. Just like LA has 2 teams for hockey, football, basketball.
Baby.
Greed.
Yes, baby. Yes, baby. LA Liz way.
SA.
That's right. I'll take it all. Yeah, I was thinking about that, because like we could have 2 baskul champions. Yeah.
You like that LA? I don't even know if it's the right way. LA. Liz way.
You gotta see the YouTube for these finger gestures that Karen is putting together.
Our finger gestures.
So we'll be going into the playoffs, TBD. Super excited for the WNBA. It has been again. I know that Krysten talked about like what she's seeing in the NBA bubble. I will say the WNBA bubble, like I mentioned, did launch first, and they have such great games. I mean, you had Jewel Lloyd who did that buzzer beater against the Sparks. It was crazy. I mean, you saw Skylar Diggins.
Oh yeah,
she just did that 3-pointer. I mean, ice in her veins. Like it's insane. So you're seeing the best of the best. We should consider this bubble for like maybe year round sitch.
Right? Like just like Krysten said with tourneys, like just bubble everyone up, bring their immediate family. But it's them single ones who are like, well, I can't bring the hoes around. Can't get them groupies in every city.
Well, you're right. You're like hoes in all area codes. Well, I get it.
Your health is very important. We don't need you running around with gonorrhea.
Truth. So I mean, those are quick updates, but because things change so fast, like by the time this comes out, we're already going to have like where people are seated and where we're set. So just a couple. Oh, you also mentioned the Satu Sabali and the Sue Bird collision.
I mean,
which happened. That was scary.
Heart stop, because Sue was out all 2019. Yeah. And they were on the floor for a bit.
I know Satu did not come back. I don't know if she's
I think she has I think her last test said she has like a mild concussion. Oh so
my God. You're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of collision. The physicality is super high. I always get nervous when you see them slip on the floor.
Like I'm nervous about ankle injuries.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's how Sabrina got out. Sabrina was done. Brittany Sykes just took a flying knee into her stomach. She had a contusion. She was out a couple of days. She's back on. But it's just like, man, it's physical. I mean, I'm loving it, but be careful. Okay, you guys, I mean, there's already a small number of squad members, team members.
144. Come on.
You know,
isn't that a square root of something?
Yeah, right. Maybe. Don't talk to me about
12
math.
times 12?
I didn't start a podcast for math.
The only math I want to do is count money.
Count your sports betting wins. Your wins. So there's a lot of, last minute playoffs, conferences, finals going on, and we won't actually know. I mean, we'll know what happened, but we won't be talking about it until October, because remember, we're going to be out on vacation. So yeah, we're going to be, maybe we'll throw some stories up for something.
We got our own off season. I mean, when we come back in October though, Liz, that's season 3.
Pretty much. Oh my God, that's right.
Our anniversary is October.
Oh my God, that's so right. Dab. 3 years. Wow. So season 3 in October. We're going to start it. We're going to pop it off. Oh my gosh, Karen. Memories. Okay. Moving along. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Standing in Sisterhood Summit.
Yes, that's still going on today.
It's still going on today. I know we're recording. We're doing like all this stuff in the studios, our studios today. It's presented by the Sports Sorority and the National Basketball Wives Association. I was able to attend almost all. I missed one panel. Well, 2 panels. Yeah. One was for sports sorority members, and the other one was later in the day, and I don't know, I think I was cooking dinner or something, so I didn't get to catch it. But the ones that I did catch changed my life.
Ooh,
I mean,
tell us,
it was so awesome. So first off, we got a welcome from Mia Wright, the president of the NBWA, and LaShonda Martin, who's the CEO and founder of the Sports Sorority. Then there was their more registered session, but then Debbie Brown, who you can follow her. Let's see. She is, I mean, it was next level. Let me find her here, because I posted, sorry, I'm looking through my Twitter live.
While you look, I have a very important question, Liz. Like,
yes, go.
Can I join the NBAA and then become an NBA wife? How does that work?
I don't think it's
Is there a course on that?
I don't think I like where you're going there, but I think you actually have to be
Got it. It's a prereq.
Yeah, you gotta put the legwork in first to become the wife, and then you can.
I don't got the legs to be an NBA wife, so
but that should maybe be a panel. They should maybe have a panel there. That would be sponsored by the Kardashians, I guess.
Oh.
Jeez. God.
What's step 1? Sex tape with Rick
right?
J.
Oh, God. It doesn't hurt. They just got canceled.
I know. They said they were done, but come on, let's be real.
I was done.
They would have drove it to the ground, Golden Girls, Kardashian style.
Yeah, Kris was
Kris Jenner from the grave.
Oh God, yeah, she would be like
some
in the
Black
crypt,
Mirror
embalmed.
Mind control.
Definitely, she's not going anywhere. I don't think she can. I don't think any of them are actually or have any organic. Well, I know Kris probably doesn't have much organic to process. So going back to the panel, Devi Brown. Okay, she's the Chief Impact Officer at Chopra Global Master Wellbeing Educator, author and founder of Karma Bliss, which I recommend. KarmaBliss.com is her website, and the host of Dropping Gems podcast. Let me tell you, she talked about owning your space and self-care, not just from like a corporate standpoint, because she says something like it's a $4 trillion business right now. Self-care. And what she was talking about was like, how do you create tools within you to make sure that you're the best that you can be, so that how you facilitate what your purpose is, with your energy. And one of the quotes that I liked and I tweeted was, any place you occupy, let me take that back. Any place you occupy space, you have a platform.
Oh,
I thought that was so that got into my brain. Yes. Right? Because sometimes I think about our podcast and I'm like, oh my God, like this is a lot of work. And, am I fulfilling a purpose? Am I, what is this? Is this, should we change it? Should we talk?
Right.
We're always like, growth and changing and moving. And so when she said that, it's like, we're occupying this space for a purpose.
Yes.
Right.
Agreed.
And we are a platform, regardless if we're, under a big corporation or us being independent. And we're not here to do this so that we can get outside gratification. It's because something inside of us that is saying this is our purpose and this is why we want to do it. And therefore we lend ourselves to sharing and occupying the space that we are, and purpose driven to do better in the world and to give out better energy. Oh, it was fantastic. She was awesome. I went to her website. Yeah. She's got all that. You could do a quiz to find out what crystals and like kits.
Ooh, we gotta bring Debbie, especially because I think next month is Mental Health Awareness.
It might already be happening.
Week or month, so
she was fantastic. I was just like, wow, she was the tonic I needed to really like start digging. She did like a breathing, like she's like, create a space, create a habit, go do breathing exercises, so many things. So it was really awesome. And then the second panel that I went to was the Stand Up Sis panel with Sabrina Galloway. She was the moderator. Elsa Collins, who is a co-creator of She Se Puede. Lauren Holiday, Tommy Rose Strickland, and Amber Sabathia. And the conversation got real raw and emotional. I couldn't find a better word for uncomfortable. Not that I was uncomfortable, but we were definitely, they were definitely having a conversation that was challenging, because Tommy Rose Strickland discussed how her brother's son was killed in police violence. And she gave us this behind the stories of what we don't see, right? We don't see what's happening to the family.
Right,
and
just what the media wants to show.
well, not just that, but just like, where we see what happened and then we take action with like either protesting or calling, all these things, but we are not living with a family that has had this violence upon them, who have lost a loved ones. And she's like, the money doesn't go to the family, and you have to have video for an attorney to even want to take it on,
Right.
And
we can't imagine the number of interviews they have to do to recollect everything, that they turn on a TV or open a paper or website and there's a story for them to relive and get triggered by that. Like, that's a lot.
It was so powerful. And the fact that she shared it and there was a space for us to listen, it just gave us like such an insight. And it was a real gift to hear her speak about it and the way that she spoke about it. And, and that kind of just helped frame like a lot of what we're talking about. And, like power and raw and emotional and a lot of growth. And it just, it just kind of, I don't know, it just felt like real talk. Like, I know these people are a very, like they are in a different space as far as like how they've become in business and their entrepreneurship and, very much role models in a community. And it was so nice to have them be so raw and so like in the space and being,
not be in that corporate speak.
Right. Yeah, it was very cool. It was like, wow. So I loved this first day of the Sisterhood Summit. Like I said, it's going on right now. We have, our studio time, what have you. And if I can catch some panels at the end, I probably will do that. But yeah, check them out. You can see more of their stuff at the Sports Sorority and the National Basketball Wives Association. So that was my time with them. Another thing just to talk about quickly is the Launch Latinx Accelerator that our friend Ana Sheila Victorino is part of. She is one of the mentors in this. And you know what? The whole thing about this Launch Latinx Accelerator, right, is about transforming your business or getting rid of any mental blocks or business blocks that you have with coaches who are trained in helping you do that. And it's a one-on-one group styling coaching. I sometimes do feel like we can get stuck in business, right?
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, you get stuck even in the game, right? Like it's our brains, I think, are our biggest walls.
Yeah, it's true. It's just we overthink it in a way. And I don't think that's bad, but it's nice to have a coach tell you, okay, when that comes up, what do you do?
Yep.
Right. And I know that the coaches like Harry Lopez and our friend Ana Sheila Victorino, they are doing these accelerators so that they can bring a community together to kind of help you unblock that. And so the Launch Latinx Accelerator is on October 8th, but you need to visit their website, which is www.harryluislopez.com/Launch Latinx to apply by Sunday, September 27th. So get on over there. It's HARRYLOUISLOPEZ.com/LAUNCH So visit their website, Launch Latinx Accelerator, and we'll also put the links in the show notes so you can get that from there. And you want to make sure when you apply, mention the Hoops Talk podcast in your application. So, you heard it here. But yeah, we're so happy to talk about that because, I feel like sometimes you need a coach. I mean, I got a career coach when I was let go from the company I worked at.
Yep.
And I decided to take it seriously and it made the world of difference.
Yep.
And, a lot of people, it's like, they tell me, oh, how much does it cost? Did it cost you? And I'm like, what is it? You're investing in yourself.
Yeah. It's the game of life. Like,
yeah,
you don't go do league when you're young and pay the fees because it's what?
Yeah. It's so weird, right? Like, I find that people will pay out of pocket for things that aren't like for others, but when it comes to their own self, care, their coaching, their education, they want to be cheap. And I'm not saying you can, need to spend millions of dollars. And I understand that we're in an economic situation, especially now, but I don't know, like, you're worth it.
Figure a way to write it off.
Yeah, absolutely. You're worth it. You are worth it. I'm telling you. Take one time, 1 minute, 1 hour, and think about it, and just realize like that you're worth it, and put that time into it. And I started also doing online therapy, because I had hit a wall with being safer at home and taking these COVID precautions, wearing a mask
we're
everywhere.
All with that wall. That's why we're breaking out of it.
Zoom. I know. And it gets you even crazier when you do see like things where people aren't wearing masks and haven't worn masks. And, you're just like all in your brain, just trying to like take all of that information in. Plus, you're also trying to focus on work. And focus on your family, and focus on your friends, and trying to enjoy reading a book,
The enjoy part's hard.
Yeah, it's difficult. So you know what? If you can find a mechanism or a coach, a life coach, a career coach, someone that's going to really be there to listen to you, to understand how to plan your goals, and get you down the path that will help you to success in some ways. I told someone the other day, I'm like, I should make an app where it's just a list, and you get to go down and do the list, because you feel the sense of accomplishment. And that alone is like uplifting, right?
Whether you love checking off shit on a list.
Love it. So that's why, we're happy to, tell you about this Launch Latinx Accelerator as one of the ways that you can already start putting yourself first and getting the coaching that you need, so that you can unblock and build and get your success, because you deserve it. And also, like I said, going to the Sisterhood Summit, that was another panel, which was so good. And there's so many virtual panels right now
everywhere, and people are free or way cheaper than like the workshop they were going to offer in person. There's a group called Create and Cultivate, and they've got tons of affordable workshops and even PDF guides for anything. Like, guys, we don't got much to do. This is the time to seize. Just like the boys are doing off season, this long off season between college and draft, like, take advantage and develop.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I know everybody was baking bread for a while there. And like,
now bake bread another way, baby. This is the starter.
Right? That's right. And, I don't know. We're going through like phases of this situation that we're in, and, do a little investing in yourself. I think it's a great idea, and I love it. And so that's what we have for today. We have one more segment. We're still going to do our hoops off. We missed Kendall, but we're going to take our hoops off. So when we come back, Karen and I will be taking our hoops off. So we will be right back. And we are back for our final segment of the episode, where we take our hoops off. So this is our 1 minute hoops off rant, where we take our hoops off because we're going to fight. We're going to fight whatever. We're going to get on it, and we're going to fight it. So Karen is going to go first.
Yes.
And if you're ready, I have my timer. Karen, are you ready?
Oh, always.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is for all the trolling media and pundits and gaslighters out there who want to dog on athletes for being out in the open about their mental health. Whether that's, just being tired like PG from the bubble and the wear and tear of what's going on in the fucking world, to someone losing their own brother. Like, let's be real, guys. We are human first. And athletes, if anything, deserve more than anyone else to actually take a break from the wear and tear they already gave their physical bodies, to even give their mental bodies a break. Because we all know, just like Liz and I mentioned twice in this episode, that right here, this is your wall. So if you got shit on your head, you ain't got shit going on in the body, and you're not able to perform. So if you really care about the game and your job as media to cover a game, then maybe let the athlete take a break so he can come back fresh and you got something to write about.
There you go. You are right. You're a little bit short.
Okay, we could be short.
Hey, let me tell you, I totally agree. What we're going through right now, the athletes are human beings.
Period. Everyone.
Done.
Everyone is going through something.
Yeah, that was a bad look to talk trash about someone who's decided to express and their mental health.
I hate people whose brand is to just ruffle feathers and be an asshole.
Girl, you said it. That's it. That's it. I just said that the other day. I'm like, oh, so that's his thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
That's
you know, just to do that.
It's more like skip, pay less. Shut your ass down like the shoe store, okay?
We need to skip him. That's what we need to do. All right. I am ready for my 1 minute. Can you time me?
Lista. Okay, ready? 3, 2.
Okay, so I have to address the trolls again. And this time I'm addressing trolls that go into Instagram Live and decide that they're going to clog the comments with stupidity. So I was watching an IG Live the other day, and it was a fantastic conversation between Ari Chambers and Candace Parker. And there was someone in there acting like a fucking fool troll saying like, boo hoo, this sucks. It's like, why are you there? Why are you there? Leave. And I know people want to engage with that person to be like, get out, da, 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 da. And it's like, you engage the troll and the troll gets the power. So we all have to stop engaging with these trolls. You know what? Whenever I would see that troll come up, I would just add like hearts in the comments, and I would just keep putting comments until like that person went away. Trolls, fuck off, and people don't engage with them. That's my...
Ooh, very good.
I couldn't believe it.
Like, I get a media troll because he's trying to make his money, but this bitch ain't making money from trolling.
I didn't understand. I'm like, why are you wasting your time? Like,
and you mentioned it was a female, right?
Yeah. Well, the name was female name.
Well, you never know. Right?
You never know. Yeah, because trolls are just that. Like, I don't get it. I didn't get it, but it was such a waste of time. And it, and they had to stop the conversation a couple times to be like, what we're not going to do here is talk about this, that. And then, I mean, it's just insane. And even Candace Parker at the end said, you know what I want to say is, now with the internet, everything you do on it is there forever.
Receipts. And they gotta give some moderation controls to boot a fucker out of the room.
And they should know that.
Conference.
Oh yeah. Well, not only that, but I mean, they want to take out likes and engagements because they think teenagers are like losing their minds if they don't get recognition for their selfie. And it's like, well, you know what's worse is when we're trying to have an IG Live and a good conversation, and there's someone out there that we can't kick off.
Let's work on that feature.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's update that instead of making reels, because I'm going to tell you, TikTok is far superior than reels. I said it there.
Snap. It was said. It was done, and that might be the next hoops up.
We did a little extra because Kendall's not here. So.
Yeah, that was hers.
All right, with that, I think we're ready to call it a wrap. So thank you, everyone who is not a wrap. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Share the episodes if you can, because, like I said, remember, we're going to be off for a couple weeks. We'll be back in October with season 3, so be ready for that. It'll be our 2-year anniversary. Yeah, 2,
yes.
3, 2 year.
Do you start it off at the year or end it?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So follow us. Also follow us and DM us on our social handles, Twitter and Instagram. We're at The Hoops Talking. We're on TikTok at The Hoops Talk Podcast. We're on the YouTube channel at The Hoops Talk Podcast. Yeah, so please enjoy this episode. It's the last one till next season in October, so we'll see you then. But while you're waiting, Karen, how do we want to keep it?
We want to keep it sweaty.